walkers, crawlers, blood, guts, and all that is zombie. It's time for Tony and Josh to recap this week's AMC's The Walking Dead.
Josh, what are those little candies that are like caramel and nuts and they're covered in chocolate?
Payday.
No, they're like fancy, like Russell Stover type candies.
All right.
They're called
Sounds
turtles.
Good.
So I'd like to.
Yeah, I like turtles.
I'd like to recommend everybody while they're listening to this bonus episode of The Walking Dead that you pull out your turtles and eat them while you're listening.
I think I might need to have a rib removed in order to do that.
So this is going to be The Walking Dead episode, season 6, episode 2, 602. JSS was
probably
the
one of the
episode name.
shortest show titles, episode titles ever. JSS. Yeah, we find out late in the show what that means and why it's so critical. I don't know that it necessarily
well,
is.
we see it at the beginning of the show, but we don't find out exactly what it,
we don't
what the
know what it
words,
means.
what the letters, what words that the letters stand for until the end.
Yeah, and even I didn't know. I was looking for some inside information and couldn't find it last week. And so I was because they kind of released the episodes, the names of the episodes early. You guys can kind of get an idea what kind of direction the season might be taking. Not too much though, and this one definitely threw me for a spin. I didn't know what it meant.
So I was waiting for a W to be thrown in there because we all wanting to know what the W thing is, or at least I did. And actually, I didn't find out what the W meant until tonight when I was looking up some information for the show.
Yeah, we had made assumptions as far as what the W's meant last season.
Mm-hmm.
And because we never, that curtain didn't really get pulled back. And I don't even know that we have a full inside story yet.
I don't think we do.
Where the W's have come from, but they came nonetheless. Well, this season opened, or this show, this episode opens up with a little bit of a flashback, kind of calling back to the theme of our season opener, but without all the black and white. We flash back with Enid. And this is Carl's attractions, Coral, his attraction, so to speak. A girl about the same age as him. They're in Alexandria, and we kind of get her backstory. And she sees her parents. They're fleeing, they're running, whatever. This is obviously after things have started.
And a Ford Explorer too, for God's sakes.
Exploder. And their parents are looking over a map or something. They're trying to find their way, and crawlers come.
Was their parents? I thought it was just her dad.
No, but it was both of her parents from what the indication that I got.
Okay.
Anyways, parents, they're coming around the corner. Yeah, we see them. Okay, just okay, we got to turn here. We got to go there. And then around the other corner they come, and flash cut to little scared girl inside the Explorer and lots of blood.
Yeah.
And then we see her kind of crying and watching as her parents basically get devoured, literally eaten by zombies. So, and we go through a little bit of a montage of her kind of coming to age in this zombie apocalypse, as it were, learning how to survive, and we see her taking some extraordinary measures to get some sustenance.
Hence the turtle reference.
Yeah, she has a nice feast of.
Sees a cute little tortoise. I believe this technically would have been a tortoise. It was looked like a land turtle.
Not knowing this character very deeply, Tony, the first thought that went to my head is, oh, she's going to get herself a pet. After seeing her parents die, this girl needs to have something that she can love.
Yep, certainly.
And I thought for sure that she was going to take this turtle and care for it and love it and make it her own.
Love it and care for it.
And she did just the opposite.
Pet its fur the wrong way, yeah.
Devouring it head first.
Yeah, well, ass first would have been a whole different show.
Well, before that, we see her scroll JSS into the dirt as she's kind of hiding from zombies behind a plank that was held up by a board. We see her write it on her skin. We see her spell it with bones.
Yeah, from the turtle.
This girl use this JSS rather liberally in the first 5 minutes of the show.
Which of course you probably figure is her initials until you.
That's what I kind of thought too,
unless you remember her name, which I'm not very good with names on these shows. Some individuals, yes, but the minor characters, no.
And that was one of the thoughts that I had as well, because like you, Tony, I'm not good with names, and I thought her name might have been Jess or Jessie or something along those lines. And
yeah,
so
she's just
dysfunctional. Something about her name.
Dyslexic, yeah.
Nope, her name's Enid. Doesn't even come close.
Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it was her dad's initials. But yeah, we find out here towards the end of this episode what JSS stands for, and of course, if you've watched the episode, you already know. This was kind of interesting with Carol. I did not see this coming. I did not see any of this stuff coming. But Carol
we know we've seen the side of Carol that we see.
Oh no! I mean, what was going to happen with the attack? So I didn't see Carol, morphing into Killer Carol. Survivalist Carol, because we've been seeing Carol play this character of homemaker, of cook, and the only edge that you've seen of Carol is with her primary group, or that kid that she keeps being mean to because she doesn't want to get to know him very well.
Right.
So, and I think she starts with in the pantry with the other women. And she's talking about using the, I think, celery soup or celery broth or something.
Goes on, blah, blah, blah. Made some miracles. What she said, spring cleaning miracle casseroles.
Oh, so lovely.
Husband, just pulling some stuff out of the cupboard. Oh, she's playing the role so well.
And she's very good at it. I don't think she's actually being somebody she's not. She's being her prior self. Her prior self before the zombie apocalypse and the loss of her child and the loss of her husband, her wife-beating husband. So, her being the wife that got beat. So, it was really cool, and it was neat that they were doing this, and I know they did it on purpose, but it was neat that they did this to contrast to what she morphed into when the need demanded it.
Yeah, we cut to Jessie's kid on the stoop, or her youngest, who we saw the end of last season get killed by Rick, and he's kind of moping along, and Carol kind of offers him some kind of tough love advice. Hey,
that's tough love.
Your dad killed somebody; he got killed for it.
Move on.
Shit happens. Move on.
Shit happens. That's a good way of putting it. She didn't say that, but that's exactly what she was coming across.
Really, she didn't use so many words, but that's the exact message she was trying to portray.
Your dad killed somebody. He got killed. I got celery soup to work with to make something decent tasting. Shit happens. It's the same thing.
So next up is speaking of Jessie, this kid's mom. We see her in the kitchen calling down her oldest son, Ron, who's kind of had some attitude problems lately.
Since his dad was killed, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's trying to get him to get a haircut, and he doesn't want to. And there's some back and forth, and we obviously see some family tension building. He's a middle teenage kid. Obviously going through some your standard teenage rebellious type stuff.
Freaking hippie with that hair.
Yeah, well. And so he ends up kind of storming off. We find ourselves with Maggie and Deanna in the garden next, and Maggie's trying to cheer up Deanna. Deanna's obviously
that's some tough love. That's some tough love that Maggie's doing there.
Right. Now, Maggie tries to offer Deanna some tough love or some advice. Hey, these people need you. You need to show them that you're still here. These people wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Now you need to show them that you're still around.
Pucker up, Buttercup.
Kind of shoves a shovel into her face.
Yeah. Are you gonna get to work and show these people that you're here with us? You gonna get over it, or are you
Maggie
gonna
Maggie pulls out a couple seed packs, and she's like, we found a whole crate of these, alluding basically that they have stores of seeds on hand now for things like corn and tomatoes and vegetables, carrots, the whole 9 yards, the whole gambit. They've got this expansion planned. There's going to be this huge, gigantic garden here. She's like, your husband wanted this place to grow. Has that changed? Are you still on board? You still want to do this? All right. Well, the people need to see you, actually doing something, being a part of it, stiff upper lip, the whole 9 yards. Here's a shovel. Let's start digging.
It's kind of the same thing with what Carol was telling that kid. Shit happens.
Buck up. Same love in a different way.
Which is good because this is the kind of thing they had to learn being out on the road and learning how to survive. Right. You got to move forward.
That's right. And moving forward in the show, at the infirmary, we find Eugene and Tara meet a new person, Denise, who proclaims that she's now the new doctor.
You know, I like her. Just her whole demeanor and her character. She's just kind of. I think she's going to be an interesting character, which probably means she'll be killed off in the next show.
Exactly. Yeah, she's. We find that she's a psychiatrist or something.
Psychologist, one of those.
Yeah, she went through medical school and all that. Kind of a different aspect of it. Even had trained. We find out she
wanted to be a surgeon.
Wanted to be a surgeon, right? So she kind of went down that path,
yeah.
But didn't make it. Didn't want to do it. Couldn't do it. For whatever reason, she's not a surgeon. She's a psychiatrist. So kind of like, well, yeah. Tara says, "Hey, I kind of got dizzy. She just came out of a coma, so no big surprise there." Denise kind of very reluctantly, "Yeah, come on over. I'll give you a look."
Well, she demanded it.
with these kind of symptoms, I should have a pretty hard time trying to kill you. So she kind of joked about her inexperience being a doctor.
Yeah, I think Tara was trying to say, "No, it's okay," and the new doctor said, "No, let me check you out," which is exactly what the doctor needs to do.
Right. So we find ourselves with Carl now, and he's I think he's taken Judith for a walk or something like that. I can't remember, but he sees Ron and Enid off kind of in a little grassy knoll in a very, very close embrace, sitting on the grass, sharing a moment, and they're in a deep hug. What I thought was interesting was this bit of a stare down. Enid and Carl make contact as Carl kind of walks by, and there's a good 25 yards between them or so. And Carl's kind of like staring at her, kind of, it's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Ron isn't able to see Carl because of the way the embrace is, but Enid is her face is more towards the direction of Coral,
and without emotion, and nothing changed. Not a wink, not a smile in the eyes, just a acknowledge, like, I'm staring at you.
Yeah,
I'm making eye contact with you so that you know that I am seeing you, seeing me doing this.
You're just another turtle waiting to be eaten, which makes sense. I mean, because of the way the episode started, you got to see a little bit of her innocence being lost and the realities of survival that caused her to be in the situation she's in now. So I can kind of see how she feels comfortable getting out from behind the walls of that. She knows that she can survive. She knows what to do. I mean. Hiding behind that board, that little piece of plywood.
That was good thinking right there.
Oh, man.
Shows that girl's got some smarts.
Yeah, and zombies don't look around very much. So, this thing with Father Gabriel was interesting, I thought.
So he's trying to make amends. We've seen the last couple episodes that he's trying to be a team player now all of a sudden, which I'm not really giving two shakes of a lamb's tail care about, but
I don't know. Hard to trust the guy. I still don't know why he's
hard to trust him.
I still don't know why he's in the show. They should have killed him off. How do you put it? Early and often.
Yes, kill him early and often, multiple times. He's
a good actor. He's a pleasant actor. I like the person that plays it, plays the character, but. Now he wants to be part of the team, and it's very obvious to see there's been a huge political change in the at Alexandria. Trying to get that out, so is he wanting to be part of the team, or is he just shifting with the political change?
Well, I think he's. That's a really good question, because he still. We saw him kind of secretly saying, last season or beginning of this season, hey, these people can't be trusted, yada yada. So I don't know. I'm not.
He knows them so well.
Trust.
Yeah, they only saved his ass 3 times. So
so he pleads to Carl, hey, help me out, and Carl's like, just basically ignores him, and eventually caves and says, all right, I'll train you. We'll start with a machete tomorrow. So Carl's now going to be training Gabriel. We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of machetes, Carol is in the kitchen and she's finishing something up, and she's looking out the window and sees a woman, one of the women she was chatting with earlier in the pantry,
chastising about smoking, and she was actually outside having a smoke.
Yeah, she was talking about to this one woman about, hey, I'll teach you how to make pasta, but you got to, promise not to ever smoke in the kitchen.
Can't smoke in the house, right?
It'll kill you, and there's lots of stuff out there that's trying to do that anyways.
Yeah, so, why kill yourself in the process?
Yeah, exactly. So as Carol is watching this woman light up and enjoy her cigarette out of her house on the lawn, out of nowhere comes this guy and just machetes her. Cleaves her almost in half.
Almost zombie-ish. The person actually looked like a zombie, but they were obviously moving with more mental acuity and a very aggressive. You don't see very many zombies with.
I thought Carol was daydreaming for a minute. I figured, okay, she hates this woman and she's just sort of mentally projecting what she might like to see happen to this woman.
I didn't know what was happening. I thought it was very strange.
I was confused. Yeah. I was confused.
I thought it was reality, but I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on, and then I think I thought of maybe this is going to be the introduction of the W people.
Well,
so I knew that was hanging out there. That they really hadn't addressed that yet.
Maggie and I had forgotten. I hadn't forgotten about them. I just didn't think that they would appear like this, or at least in this episode. Maybe
I saw the W on previews. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe that's why. Mm-hmm. Meg and Deanna are still in the garden, and they hear this commotion. They hear a lot of stuff going on. What's going on? There's a guy that's on lookout on the fence, just kind of kitty corner from them.
What is that? The steeple of the church or something like that?
No, he's actually sitting like on the fence.
And he's kind of just yeah, that's right.
Because they're outside of the fence, and so he's looking back into Alexandria, and they're like, hey, what's going on?
Which is a great place to be looking if you're on lookout. Look back into the area you're protecting.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, boom! Here comes a couple Molotov cocktails.
One hits the fence, the metal fence, which doesn't do much. But the second one, it does a little bit more damage.
It's target square.
Which is the guy on the fence.
The guy on the fence erupts into flames, and we know at that point something serious is going down. Carol
and I'll remind everybody, if you don't, we haven't forgotten. Last week, the zombie horde has been pulled away by some loud noise. And what do you think we're into the show? 15, 20 minutes by now, Josh? And we still don't know what the hell happened. Where's the horn? Why are we watching this stuff? Where's Rick? Where's the group?
All this stuff is compounding. This stuff is going on. We got a zombie horde on the way. We got people outside the fence. There's a lot of there's some serious stuff going on here, people. And right now things are starting to go crazy.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen. Well, Carol runs out of the house. She hears the commotion. She tells Carl, "Stay here, guard Judith, guard the baby."
Mm-hmm.
Jesse and Sam, we find them in their house. The commotion's going on their side of town as well. Obviously, the scale of this is pretty big. We're starting to get one
random attack. There's a lot of attacks happening all at once.
Yeah, that this is a large scale event that is happening right now. So Jesse tells Sam, go hide, go in the closet, lock the lock the latch like I've taught you, all this stuff. So that we hear breaking glass, and so now they're both going to go upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Enid, we see Carl, and he's kind of on watch with the AR. Enid tries to say goodbye. He says, "Don't say goodbye."
So she says aloha.
By. Yeah, Ron stops by, and Carl says, "Hey, get in the house. I'll protect you guys." He sees Enid standing in the door, and he's like, "No, forget it. No."
Well, that actually happened after the person that was running after Ron, because there was one of these people that were attacking the Alexandria was literally chasing Ron down, and Ron was just moments away from being chopped up. And this is what these people were doing. They were literally just hacking people to death.
Yeah, they were taking no prisoners. Well, they were actually taking a couple prisoners, but the whole purpose of this attack was to kill as many of Alexandrians as possible. And we see people getting literally hacked apart. Machetes are flying, and body parts are coming off of torsos. And this is not a very pleasant day in Alexandria. Carl has a close call with one of these wolves.
Shoots him in the leg or the thigh, I believe, saving Ron from being hacked up and at least molested.
So the guy is like pleading to Carl, please don't kill me. No. And tries to grab the gun. And we see
grab the gun. I was a little concerned that he was Carl was going to let go without pulling the trigger.
But he does. He pulls the trigger, and Carl kills what you think his first human.
You know what? I think maybe that was the first live, not non-zombie human that he's killed. And the interesting thing is that even in the midst of being hacked to death, I mean, it's not like Ron was just strolling along. He was running from this person that Coral just shot and killed, saving him from a horrible death. And that's when he says, "Come on inside, I'll protect you." And Ron says, "Nah, it's all right. I got it. Nothing. You got an extra weapon? I can protect myself." Nothing. None of that. Just he looks at Enid, and the jealousy is. I mean, I understand young love, but come on, survival.
Right. Exactly. So, Ron decides to go on his way. I'm guessing he's going to go back to the house. By what we see later on,
right.
Carol sees wolves taking prisoners in chains.
Oh, and that's what the W stands for, folks.
Yeah, and she paints a W she sees a wolf paint a W on his forehead. So
using the blood of one of the victims that he had just recently hacked up, dips his blood in that red ink and then puts the W on the forehead.
Yeah, and he's just, crazy eyed and the whole 9 yards, just crazy. Well, about this time, she's kind of rounding the corner of a house, and she hears commotion and somebody help me, and she rounds the corner just and see somebody attacking this gal. So she kills the wolf, the attacker.
Mm-hmm.
But the gal has some pretty nasty wounds. Doesn't look like she's going to make it.
No, she wasn't.
So
especially after Carol had to silence her.
Yeah, Carol did silence her.
She was making too much noise,
both figuratively and then literally.
She had to stop that lady from making noise because she was gonna, get them both killed.
Yep, and the woman was not going to stop screaming. So Carol just very gently decided to slide that knife into her lower brainstem.
The base of the brain.
So Spencer shoots a semi heading toward a semi. Shoots in the semi. Big semi truck heading towards the gate. Thing is hauling ass, and Spencer he hears it coming, flips around his post 180 degrees on the watchtower.
What a crappy shot this guy is!
Flips the AR to automatic and just starts unloading into that windshield, and actually hits his target.
Yeah,
the
surprisingly,
truck goes kind of off target from the gate and crashes right into the church and into the wall.
Oh, a nicely constructed wall too, wasn't it?
The wall did hold. So we see that the wall is nothing to be messed with. It is as stout as it can be. It took a semi hit, that we find is what caused the horn to blare. Semi crashes through the church, runs into the wall. The driver dies or was killed from the gunshot, and the horn is going off. The air horn of a semi. And we heard that at the end of last episode. Now, when that horn went off, I got goosebumps. My skin was literally crawling. I was like, oh my God, this is why. This is what's happening. Holy, so now we have this attack on Alexandria. Now we have this big, gigantic.
And you also have a time frame that what time it is in this episode is related to the time frame of the last episode. So now things are meshing up for the
things are starting to kind of blend together. We see a little bit bigger of a picture. So we have this horn going off. We have this zombie horde, which was in the midst of being drawn away from Alexandria, now being drawn to Alexandria, right in the midst of an attack. These people are trying to defend their base.
I don't know what the hell the wolves were trying to do. The whole thing didn't make much sense.
Well, they didn't have any guns. They're trying to take over an armed town. Well, they thought it was armed, or they didn't think it was armed. Mm-hmm. But they thought they would come in and start hacking people and sure enough,
well, with that
they
no gun policy that they have
Yeah.
in Exaler and the inside the fence of Alexandria, I could certainly see if they were doing any.
Do you think, Tony, that they were trying to portray a political statement, maybe about all this gun
Well-
control in the news lately, about how, hey, people, if you disarm your citizens, if you have these disarmed zones, this is what's going to happen?
Well,
And
I
sure
mean,
enough,
Rick has been telling them for quite a while now that the guns need to be in the hands of the residents at all times. You can't have a situation where you're surrounded by this much danger and not having the basic protection necessary for these individuals to
Right.
to move
Well,
forward
to
to
pr-
keep
or
to
even to
continue
protect
living.
them-
I mean,
or
this
even
is
to
like
protect
being
themselves.
in Detroit or Chicago.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely some parallels there. Spencer, he tries to get down to shut off the horn. His access is blocked. The semi, there's too much damage. He can't get out of the stairwell. He finally makes his way out and around and gets to the cab of the truck. He opens the cab of the truck, and lo and behold, there is a zombie. But he pauses. He's reluctant. He can't seem to put a knife into this zombie's head. For some reason, he pauses.
Well, they don't know what to do. They're
Morgan
not trained.
steps in. Morgan opens the door right at the last moment and dispatches the zombie, and thus turning off the horn. But by this time, the horn has been on for several minutes.
42 hours.
Well,
and for some reason, there's a valley or something in between them and the last week's show, because it was amplified 1 million times.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was a loud horn. I mean, that was like an air raid horn.
Well, you got
I think
to
you
look
even
at
mentioned air raid last.
You got to look at
show.
it this way. I mean, a semi truck air horn is going to have probably around 130 decibel volume level. I mean, it's going to be loud. Now, you don't have anything else going on. There's no traffic. There's very, very little, background noise happening. You don't have a lot of freeway motion.
Yeah, go back to last episode and listen to how loud that horn is.
That horn was loud.
It was very loud.
Also, it was kind of in a little bit of a pocket. You had the structure of the church. You have the big reflective surface of the wall. It could have acted sort of like an amphitheater of sorts. And
yeah.
Hey, I'm trying.
Are you being paid off by the writers?
Here.
You're being paid off by the writers, aren't you?
I wish. Well, Morgan definitely sees that Spencer doesn't have the kahunas to do anything but hide, and tells him to do so.
He's like a new soldier in battle. He pauses because he doesn't know his training hasn't kicked in. Oh, that's right. He doesn't have any training.
Exactly. Well, through the midst of all this, we do have a serious injury of somebody who managed to get away before they were hacked to pieces. Holly, which is a character we don't really know anything about, comes into the infirmary with a very bad wound.
Stomach wound,
They try and save her, but they can't. And our new doctor ends up getting very upset over the fact that she was unable to save. Tara, whatever, tries to console her. Hey, at least you tried. She tells everybody to get out. And the last thing that Tara says is, hey, don't forget the brain.
That's right.
So, does she stab the brain? We do not see. We do not see the good doctor, stab the brain. So, we may see the last of our good doctor.
Common sense says she did. Being the doctor says she knows, but being a noob, maybe she doesn't. So,
when I'm kind of going. Well, we have a face-off in the town square, and well, not exactly, but it's in the intersection of the neighborhood. Morgan and a big axe dude. This guy is huge, and he has a big axe. And Morgan sees him. He sees Morgan. He charges straight for Morgan, takes off at a sprint right towards Morgan. Morgan takes a stance with his staff, and the guy stops instantly.
You're supposed to be scared.
You are not something that I can kill easily. And there's this little bit of a back and forth. There's some dialogue between Morgan and this axe wielding psychopath. And he's like, kind of bouncing the axe a little bit in his hands. Slow, and then he kind of points to Morgan and the staff. Fast. And kind of understanding that, I can't swing this axe as fast as you can swing that staff. And I know it. And Morgan's like, leave. It's time for you to go. And the guy's like, I'll take slow, and charges Morgan, and Morgan ends up dispatching him pretty well. Actually, no, he's kind of in this battle with him, and doesn't. He's at the point of where he needs to do something about this guy, and Carol is seen in a new outfit. We actually see a character dressed just like the wolves come and dispatch this axe guy, just kills him right then and there, and was like, oh, who is this person? Oh, they're turning on each other. No, it's Carol, and I almost
was that the one that got tied up? Was that the axe guy that got tied up, and then Carol walks by? It was hilarious.
No, that was the guy with Carl and the preacher guy. They
it was hilarious.
Morgan. So Carol was sort of to get Morgan and Carol through the streets to get them to the place where they have all the guns.
Right.
The armory.
Yeah.
She had to kind of hide in plain sight, so she donned all their clothing, wraps Morgan up in some chains, not really, and is kind of walking him through the streets like she's got himself a new prisoner.
Right.
Like she's one of them, he's one of their prisoners. And she even passes a couple wolves on the way to the armory, and they think, hey, good catch, that sort of thing.
Which she kills.
Yeah. So, and then that's when they see, Carl and what's
Gabriel.
Gabriel, thank you. Kind of almost in the midst of a zombie attack or an attack by the wolf. So Morgan heads over there really quick to deal with them.
And then, that's right. Then Carol keeps going towards the armory.
Right. Carol goes to the armory.
Oh, that's right. Gabriel was being attacked.
Yeah.
Gabriel was getting ready to be killed. And Morgan went over there to save him. That's what happened. That now I remember.
Right. So let's see here. Where are we at? And so Carol comes back eventually and dispatches him. Well,
they had him all tied up, because Morgan takes care of this guy easily, and then Gabriel and Morgan, or maybe just Morgan, has him all tied up, and then then Carol comes back by and pops him in the head. There's no talking. There's no discussion. Pop, he's dead.
Yep. Oh, he's done. Okay.
Morgan's going,
she starts
I just did all
guns.
this tying. Why did I have to tie this guy if you're going to come along and kill him? We should at least discuss this.
Well, she starts handing out guns like they're candy. And, I love Carol for that.
Well, and then she left that lady back at the armory, which I was a little surprised. Here's a person that's never shot a gun, and she's left to defend the armory. I don't know that if I was Carol that I would feel comfortable letting that much firepower sit there for somebody else to come and get.
This is a claymore. This is a time bomb. This is something that is going to happen. This is a lit fuse, and something is going to happen next episode, I think, because the last we see of this interaction between Carol and that large woman in the armory is the large woman who has never shot or handled a gun really ever before, holding this thing fully outright, arms locked behind a closed door, and with the instructions of Carol saying, if anything moves outside this door, you shoot. And just keep pulling the trigger until it drops.
See, this is the thing that surprises me about people and guns. You live in a world that there are factions and countries that want to kill you or enslave you, yet you do not take the opportunity, your legal opportunity, to learn how to use a gun. You don't want to own one, that's fine, but you don't take the opportunity to learn how to use something that may save your life or your family's life. To me, that is just stupid. And this is the situation. I'm not saying the zombie apocalypse is coming, but you never know what may happen. I mean, look at these wolves. These people are just people. They're not zombies that are attacking. So who is going to come and attack you, and in what situation where you could have known how to use a weapon? I mean, the lady could have just turned around and grabbed a fully automatic rifle with 30 round clip or a magazine, and I would much rather stand there with that and defend that armory than a pistol.
I don't think she knows what a semi-automatic is from a bolt action.
No, because she doesn't. Because she doesn't know, and then use the pistol as a backup.
So Carol puts a gun in her hands, shows her how to use it in all of about 2.5 seconds. Puts her behind a door, closes the door. If anybody comes
sliding door. It's a sliding door. There's no lock.
Well, So here I'm thinking, okay, this woman doesn't know that things are over. So Friendly comes into the armory. Hey, what's going on here? Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I'm full of lead. And who is the person who got the friendly fire? We don't know. So I'm going to call that I think that's going to happen here in the next episode. Somebody's going to get shot by Olivia. That's her name. Olivia is the large woman behind the door in the armory. So Morgan takes on some more wolves. There's actually like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, they circle him. Yeah.
Yeah, they encircle him. And he's dealing with them quite admirably, I might add. And he says to the whole group, you guys keep choosing this life, you will die, he says. And one of them pipes up, we didn't choose.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I
we
understand
didn't choose. They were forced into being this wolf gang or something? I don't know. Makes me seem to think that there's a bigger picture going on with these wolves. There's something happening behind the scenes, some degree of organization that we don't see or we don't know.
Well, yet. I mean, I certainly understand the zombie apocalypse happens. They have to survive, and I can understand that they didn't choose from the standpoint that they didn't choose the world in which they live in. And this is the way they have to live to survive.
If you remember, Tony, Morgan has ran into a couple of these guys before. A couple of them recognize him.
Oh, yeah.
He recognizes them. He's already encountered these guys before. He beat a couple of their asses, locked them up in a car, and turned the horn on or something like that to make sure that a whole bunch of zombies came and that they would be stuck in a car. Basically put them in a prison.
Right.
So we've seen these guys before. They definitely, have some animosity towards him because of this. But obviously they chose to not take the righteous path after that point.
They didn't learn their lesson the first time. Yep.
They hooked up with a gang, these wolves or whatever.
Oh, I think they were part of it to begin with. I think.
Well, they very well could be.
Yeah.
In any case, they take off, but not before one of them grabs a gun on his way out.
And then Morgan chases their ass out with the guy that has the gun.
Yeah, I thought was kind of ballsy, but now these wolves who didn't have a gun before, now they do.
And they have a limited ammo supply.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen there. Now these people are armed. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We don't know too much about it. The whole scenario is over. The incident has come to an end. Carol has a smoke. Something who she chastised this woman for earlier is now sitting on the stoop, looking over the body and the blood. She's covered in blood herself. And do we see a bit of emotion? I think we see Carol cry, or at least start to cry. The camera cuts before we see too much emotion coming from Carol at this point. So another scene, and Aaron is walking down the street. Lots of bodies are littering the street. He's finishing off those who might come to zombies, and he sees something familiar by one of the buildings. It's a backpack that we have seen him with before in many scenes prior, especially last season. There was an episode where he and Daryl were out trying to look for more people to bring in, and there was an ambush near the truck. And that was with the whole the trap at that place with the semi trailers and stuff. Narrowly escaped that, and the backpack was lost. Well, inside this backpack, he goes through it to see what was in there, remembering some of the stuff that he had in there. And there's photos of Alexandria inside the backpack. There's photos of the inside of Alexandria inside the backpack. And it is not said. They don't come out and say it in any way, shape, or form, but I guess you could kind of make the inference, or it could be implied that maybe, just maybe, those pictures, that backpack, is how the wolves found Alexandria to begin with.
Well, it certainly would entice them to look for it.
So it could.
I mean, the solar panels alone would have been enticement enough. There was a nice picture of the solar panels.
Yep, there was. So a lot of detailed photographs in there. So we don't know for sure, but it very well could all be Aaron's fault. We don't know. Well, Maggie, Deanna, and Rosarita and Spencer are all patrolling the perimeter after the fact, looking for I don't know what. Spencer asks how Rosarita can live in a world like this, and she says you simply need something worth dying for. Basically meaning you got to have something that's worth fighting for, worth dying for. You got to have something that keeps you moving along. And I think that might be the first time that the Spencer kind of gets it, as it were.
They're starting to.
So Carl's little ordeal is over. The guy is who he shot is definitely now dead, fully. Carl is turning back to make sure everybody in the house is okay, and is looking for his kind of girlfriend-ish. Calls out to her, no answer. She said that she wasn't going to say goodbye. I guess Carl was hoping that she was going to stay and not leave without saying. But she did leave a note and said 3 words: just survive somehow.
Which is weird because it's the same letters. If you think about it, it's the same letters of the JSS thing. Dun, dun,
Holy
dun.
cow. Yeah, no, that's right, everybody. Just survive somehow. JSS. That is the name of the show, or the name of this episode, and we find out what JSS means. Now, we also saw earlier in the show that Enid used these letters several times before, even leaving little carvings, notes, bones, whatever. JSS. So she may leave a trail of breadcrumbs for Carl to follow. We may see her again. I don't know. She says just survive somehow. Meaning, hopefully, maybe, in the maybe not so distant future, their paths will cross again. We don't know.
Yeah, she may be back. She may be back next week. Who knows? It just with that girl, she comes and goes. Maybe she'll be back. What would be interesting would be that we find out that the wolves actually found Alexandria because of the JSSs that were left.
Oh, it's her fault. Maybe. Maybe she ends up joining them, or maybe she gets abducted and gets turned. We don't know.
There's something strange. There's something strange going on with her. Always has been. And I always got the feeling that she was part of another group anyway.
Yeah, I got that feeling a little bit last season. We see her kind of hopping over the fence. Where's she going? Nobody knows. Carl tries to follow her, ends up kind of finding her once, but getting information out of her wasn't happening, and their little encounter was interrupted by some zombies anyways. So we never get to find out really her entire story, let alone what she's doing outside the fence, sneaking outside the fence. So very, very curious there. Morgan is closing off the show. He's making his final sweep through Alexandria, going through one house in particular. Here's something, kind of goes in to check it out. We see what he doesn't is one of these wolves hiding around the corner, and ends up in a nice little fight with this other wolf.
Close quarters inside the house. So it's a more difficult fight. Not as much room to wield that staff. And Morgan comes close to being bested because of the close quarter combat. Actually
does get bested, knocked down, even not necessarily knocked out, but got his bell rung a couple of times. This guy is certainly a worthy opponent. And we see that it's a familiar face. This is a person who Morgan has ran into before. I believe
one of those two. I think he ran into in the woods.
Car prior or something like that. Yeah.
Now he said he actually apologized to the guy whenever he hits him with the staff. Do you think he killed them? If he killed him or not? I mean, I think that's why he was apologizing.
I think. Well, here's the thing: is the guy taunts Morgan for not killing him when he had the chance. I think he says something along the lines of, like, you had the opportunity to kill me. And he says, you can't? Like, you can't kill me? He's like, oh, you should have. You should have when you had the chance. And because Morgan is kind of taking this oath that he's not going to kill human life anymore. Zombies, well, we can deal with those. But human life, he's, regardless of what these people's intentions and motives are, he's not going to kill humans. So this guy kind of ends up taking advantage of that. Morgan knocks him out unconscious at the very least. Maybe has even killed him.
Well, we don't see. He just apologizes and the staff goes down.
See, I think he says, does he say, I'm sorry, or I'm starting?
Maybe I'm starting.
I thought he said, like, it's like, you can't, you should have, I'm starting, or I'm starting to, or,
maybe that's why I think
he does say I'm sorry. So in any case, I don't know that the guy's dead. I'm thinking that there's got to be at least one person that out of that group that stays alive, that gets interrogated.
Well, as long as
tortured, even
as long as they keep a close eye on Carol.
Well, we get a sneak peek. We get an eye on what's happening next week, and it looks like Rick and the others may not be able to have a chance to come back for a little bit. It looks like they may be on the run. What is happening with with our core group? What is happening with Rick and those others that were out with that zombie horde trying to get them away from Alexandria? Does the zombie horde get pulled back away from Alexandria? Will Alexandria survive another attack? We all don't know. We will find these answers and more on next week's AMC's The Walking Dead.
And I want to just bring you back to a part that we missed that I really enjoyed. It was one of those moments where you just go, yeah. Jessie had made inferences that she was learning how to shoot the gun to Rick last episode. And you mentioned that her and her son, one of her sons, her younger son, were in a closet. And I guess she sensed that things were slowing down, that people had left out of the house.
Somebody had come into the bedroom. We actually see the shadow in front of the closet door.
But I think she got the feeling that people had left the building, and she was worried about her older son. So she left and went downstairs, where she was attacked by this crazed-looking woman that turned out to be one of the wolves. And she actually got knocked out. I thought that was going to be it for Jessie. And she came to as the wolf, the lady wolf, was going over to pick up the pistol that she had knocked out of Jessie's hands. And I guess there was a pair of scissors. Oh yeah, the scissors from the haircut were right there on the island or in the kitchen cabinet. And she grabbed those pair of scissors and went for the lady with the gun. And
right as the woman was turning around with the gun. Yeah. Another half a second, and Jessie would have been fully exposed looking down the barrel of a gun.
And Ron, her older son, shows up and gets to see his mom stabbing this lady repeatedly in the chest. And the lady's not moving anymore. And Jessie seems to calm down. And then out of the blue, takes the scissors straight into the head, and not nice in the back of the base, right through the forehead.
Not here. I'm going to cradle you and just gently slide us into the soft tissue. Nope.
And I think there might have been a scream that went along with that, or at least an utterance of satisfaction, like "Arr!" And it was a great scene. It tells me that Jessie is a survivor. She gets it.
She's got it in her.
She is going to be a survivor, which means she'll probably be dead in 3 shows. So,
lovely.
Well, you never know. I don't know, Josh. This is off subject a bit, but have you noticed that some of the other shows seem to be emulating what The Walking Dead is doing with killing off actors?
I don't get a chance to watch a lot of TV. I'm very selective with what I
don't
watch,
see a lot either, but I've noticed that there are people, and I wonder if this goes back to some of this reality TV show where people get voted off the island.
Oh God, I wish they would kill the Kardashians off already.
Yeah, when are the Kardashians going to start getting killed off their show?
Oh God, one can only hope. Seriously.
Well, we certainly had fun tonight going over the most recent episode of The Walking Dead. We certainly hope you guys did too. And thank you very much, Josh, for putting together all the show notes tonight. And he was leading the attack because of these show notes tonight. And I was just here to crack wise and to remember things that he missed. And it's like you need to watch the show more than once. There's so much action.
Almost,
and that's the great thing. Truth.
I was emotional over this episode with the whole when that horn went off and we see what the semi truck and everything like that. I mean, I goosebumps. I jumped up off the couch and I'm like, no, it's this pivotal moment and it's like I had to go to the bathroom. Quick pause. Oh my God, can't get back to the TV fast enough. I'm jumping over the couch. Seriously, this episode was definitely kept going with. Hey, let's bring season 6 in with a big bang. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's give them some good stuff. And they're keeping it coming. So AMC, keep up the good work.
Well, as much hacking as they were doing of body parts, I would imagine there were some balls rolling, if you know what I mean. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up and say thank you very much. Anyways. And you guys have a great week. And join us next week for season 6, episode 3, 603. And anybody know what the name of that episode is?
I don't have it in front of me, but I promise you I'll have it for next week.
We'll have it next week. You can always look ahead and see what it is yourself. So you guys have a great night. We'll see you later.